So I got a DM from Tresses of Melanin Excellence, and I'm going to read it to you. So it says, "Good afternoon. I know you're busy, but if I could trouble you with a question, I'm trying to figure out why does the top of my closure start to get a bulk up or bumpy. Everything seems to be fine until I put it back on my canvas head, and there is bumps. Even when I try it on, it feels good. I mean, there is a little bump bulk, nothing major, but it's not lying completely flat the way that I would like, even if it's a little bump. When I put it on the canvas head, I can really see it. I go through this every once in a while. 1 minute is fine, then the next minute we are back at square one. I can't figure out what the problem is or how we end up back at this stage again with the lace bulking up on me. I truly appreciate it if you could offer some guidance. Thank you." So, one of the things that I know for sure that's going on, it has nothing to do with her. I've noticed that, I'm just assuming because this is the most popular cap, the Q-Fit 5011. Can we agree on that? I could guarantee that it's probably the cap itself. So these caps, while they are factory made, and you would think that the cap is made the same exact way each and every time, it actually is not made the same way each and every time. Sometimes I get them and they're just a little too small. Sometimes I get them and they seem to have kind of frays on the inside. All of these things could be the problem, the cap itself. But if you are making sure that you pin down every section, your five main sections for a glueless closure, you shouldn't have any problems. So what I'm going to do is we're going to swing over to the board and I'm going to explain some things. So we're going to geek out for a moment and then I'll show a little bit of how I lay my cap down. But I'm not going to show anything because guess what? I have a video, a cap construction video. The link is in my bio on Instagram and you could go over there and purchase it. And that right there will help out a lot. That's why I made that video before I did anything else, because measurements matter. They'll always matter. And I figured that the first video that I put out would be on measurements. So anyway, let's swing over to the board and let me just geek out for a moment and I'll explain a couple of things. Okay, so we are at our geek board. So let's get busy. So when you're taking your five measurements, you want to make sure that you're getting each and every one, and I'll go through it with you. The first one you want to do is you want to make sure that you are getting your circumference, right? So when you're getting your circumference, I'm going to say right off the top, if you are trying to get your tape measure to sit all the way down here, you're already at a disadvantage because it's going to start sliding up and you're never going to get the most accurate measurement. You want to make sure that when you are taking your measurement that you are getting it right here at this base. Somewhere, anywhere in between here is good because it rests better, like right on that little curve that's right here. It rests a whole lot better. So you want to make sure that you are getting in that particular area. Okay. So that's one. So you want to make sure that when you're doing your measurement, that it's coming something like this, right? This is your left and your right side. So, whoops, we're not going to go down there because I just told you not to go that far. Okay, so we're going to go right here because you want to make sure that you're somewhere within this section, this base section, right? So that's number one. So we're going to call that number one. So you want to make sure that you're in that section. Number two would be your front to nape. Well, before I move on to that, you want to make sure that this measurement here, like you always ask your customer during consultation, where, because it don't matter what you like, because she got to wear it. Where do you like your lace to sit? And then she'll tell you that is where you start your measurement when you get around to the front and you're trying to see with the tape measure or with this is, let me go and get my tape measure for a sec. I'm still here, so didn't go nowhere. Okay, so you want to make sure that when you get your tape measurer, and you know when you get in those two metal pieces to the side, let's just try to get a little visual right here. So we're like right here at, this is a 21. So when you're sitting right here, you just want to make sure that is right where she likes to wear her wig. So right there, like if she's saying that's how she likes to wear her wig, if she want to wear it like a fitted cap, as long as she pay you, that's all that matter. So that would be how you kind of gauge your circumference measurement. So then number 2, we're going to put a 2 right here because this is going to be your front to nape, right? So we're going to do the front to nape on this side as well. This is your front to nape. So that's number 2. And for the nape area, you don't have to get all where the little kitchen hairs are at. Do it where like it would, like where the wig would reasonably rest. And where it would reasonably rest is it typically down here? It's typically about here. So that would be about your stopping point. Does that make sense? And then your ear to ear over the top would be right in the middle of the ear. So you would go right up and then come right back down. That is your ear to ear over the top. So we'll call that number 3. Okay. And then number 4 would be your nape area. So you want to make sure again that you're somewhere like right in here. So we'll call that number 4. We're right over in this area, right over here. And just to give you a better visual, how you would measure that area is that little divot that you have, just like this, that little divot that you have in your nape area is how you measure. So you would come across this way, right in that nape area. That would be your number 4 measurement. So not down here. And I heard in the streets that a lot of people are teaching that it's always supposed to be a 5. If that person's a 21.5 and under, I guarantee her wig is not fitting her. Do not do that. You measure right from here. If you want more detail about measurements, you can purchase my cap construction video, and you'll find that cap construction video. If you go on Instagram and you go to the link in bio, you can purchase that video there. It's chock full of information about how to get accurate measurements. This is just a slight overview of how I do it for me. So those would be your measurements for your frontal. So one of the things that I have wanted to also show you is that the reason why you want to take the ear to ear over the top, just go around this way. Maybe I'll do it in red. How about that? So you can really follow. Let's do it in red. So your ear to ear over the top, right? And then your temple to temple around the back, and your front to nape all matter because you want to get the cross section. You need this T to get the accurate fit. All measurements matter. That's why you want to make sure that you get your measurements. So tresses of melanin excellence. I always got to slow down when I say that because it's a tongue twister for me. That is probably one of the reasons why your wig is not fitting, because of how you're taking your measurements. And so now that we got this kind of secure, and again, I don't know if you have the cap construction video, but if you don't have it, I encourage you to buy it. No, I don't show you how to actually put a wig together, but again, measurements matter. So that's a good video for you to try. So we're going to move from here, and then we're going to go over to the wig block, because that is where I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like as I'm blocking my wig block out for the measurements. Okay? Okay. So here we are ready to pin the wig down. So how I figure out where my pin is going to land is simple. So here we go. So what I do is take the full face of my hand, right? Place it right here in the front, right? Slide it down. And what I want to do is I want to slide my finger down. See right here where this line is? I slide it down until it's right before the head begins to curve. And then lay my finger down. And that is where I place my first pin. Okay, so here's my first pin. So why do I do that? Because if you look at our own head, if I place my hand right here, right, then I curve my fingers, I'm like right at my hairline. I mean, I ain't got no hair there no more, but like, like I'm right at my hairline. So that's why I do that. Okay, got it? Okay, so that's why I do that. So we got the first pin, and I have, uh, I have my client Sonia's measurements. Yeah, right here. So her front to nape is going to be a 13. Okay, so I got the 13. Her temple to temple over the top is going to be an 11 and a half. So it's like 5 and a quarter. But, I do like everybody else. I'll go ahead and fold it at 11 and a half. Give it a nice good pinch. And yeah, I'm at 5 and a quarter to be right here. Kind of like near the 6, but not really. So I'll go ahead and find that flattest part at the top. Not too far forward, not too far back. That flattest piece. I'm going to put a pin there, hold it, so I could go ahead and put the other measurements in. So I'm at 11 and a half. And then I go ahead and, test it out and make sure that this is, it's landing right at that 11 and a half. Okay. The temple around the back. That number, I forgot to write it down. It's in the phone that I'm actually recording on, so I need to pause it for a second and get that measurement. Okay, so she's a 16. So half of 16 is 8. And then for this measurement, you want to use the seam to get that measurement. So you don't want this too low and you don't want it too high. So I got it right there. So I'm going to place a pin so that it doesn't go running away from me because I want the most accurate measurements. Okay, so I got the 16, and then I put the nape measurements in. I do something very special with the nape. Can't tell you because you would have to buy the cap construction video in order to see more detailed info on that. But go ahead and put the nape measurements in. It's something that I do that helps to bring it tighter so that the customer has a good hug on the back of the neck and it's not flapping. Nobody wants no flappy behind wig, right? So you want to make sure that that's in there. So then after all the pinning is done, which it is, then I go ahead and do one more thing. Again, got about a video. But anyway, depends. Like if you stopped here and you did not get my video, you can't afford it or don't want to buy it, whatever it is why you don't want to, trust me, you're good right here. So I'm going to go ahead and move to placing the cap on. Okay, so go ahead and place the cap on. So this is a small head. So that's what makes this video important, because what I'm thinking is the young lady who sent me the question, I believe that she is a small head, and that's why she's having a little bubbling issue. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that when you're laying the cap down, that everything is nice and smooth. Sometimes it can't be smooth because the head is just small. So I I believe that this is fine, but once everything's pinned down, we'll see, and then I'll tell you, what else I do. So I make sure that the pin is not too far up, not too far down, because pin placement matters. So that's my pin placement so far. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. Okay. All right. So I have all the pins in. So remember, the video is about her having a bulk at the top. So do we just leave the bulk sitting here like this? This is why I'm thinking her head might be on the small side. You can't leave the bulk sitting like that. So I know that some people, they drag everything forward, right? And then they sew it down. I don't drag it forward because then when you drag it forward, the cap takes on the measurements of the wig block, which is why sometimes you still run into trouble. You have to pull it back so it does not so it takes on the measurements of the customer and not the wig block itself, because this may not be her shaped head. You know what I'm saying? Like, you take the measurements because you want to have the measurements of her head. So this is why you do this. So just pull it back. Now, am I going to go like this so that this is nice and flat? No, just bring everything back. It doesn't have to be tight. It just needs to be nice, smooth, and flat. No bumps, no ridges. And then once you pull everything back, you just go ahead and, give a nice good fold. Again, that part is on the cap construction video. But you pull it back because there's a couple of ways that when I pull it back, I pull it. So that again is on the cap construction video. But anyway, you pull it back. As long as you're pulling back, again, I of course I'm gonna promote my product, but if you don't buy the video, you still just pull everything back and sew it down best way possible. If you want to sew it down, you go ahead and fold it the best way possible. But if you want to fold it the way that I have it, yes, you must get that video. So we're gonna put it on pause, and then when I come back, you'll see that everything is sewed down. So okay, so we are coming to the end of the video. So here I am showing you my darting, how I took the cap in. This is one of the methods that I use. I use a couple of others, and this is based off of the measurements, the frontonate and the temple over the top. When you take those two measurements, if you really look at your cap, this is just a hint, but if you really look at your cap, you'll see that it kind of forms this shape. So it's easy to get this. This is not something that you have to fight to get. You just got to let the cap speak to you. And so here I am with the 5x5 closure, and I just want to get that middle. So here we are. So what I normally do is I go ahead and mark out that middle portion right here so that I know where my middle is at. Just mark it out. This is a China marker for those of you who don't know. And so now I know where my middle is. So spin her around, lock her up. And then what you want to do is make sure that you have tension. You want to make sure you got tension. You want to make sure you got tension. Tension matters. Okay? So what I do is I don't line it up right here. What I'm looking for, what my eyeballs are looking for when I'm pulling it down, I'm not going to say pull it down an inch, a half inch, a quarter of an inch. I pull down until I start to see these ends are able to be covered. That's how I know where my stopping point is. And not only do I want it to cover the cap, because if it covers the cap, then it means that your measurements are on cue, right? So you want to make sure that it covers not too much flapping over, but just enough. But you also want to take it down just a little bit longer. Watch how I pull it down. Just a little bit longer, because you're going to be pulling the lace back in order to secure it, right? And to get that tension. So you want to compensate for your tension as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put the first pin in. And then I just stick the pin in on one side just to kind of hold it. So when I pull with the tension, I'm not making the closure shift. Does that make sense? So I just want to make sure that I put a pin or two, and on this one I'm going to put two. So I'll put another pin here just to kind of hold it, so when I pull, it's not taking it all the way out of its place. So I'm going to put this back one in first. You see how my pin is raising? Let me see. Let me make sure you can see. Sorry. You see how the pin is raising up? Too much tension. So I'm going to go ahead and repin, reposition, and I'll put a second pin in for stability. I'll put it in at the bottom. We don't want to put the pins too close to the hairline in case something happens. So I'll go ahead and I'm trying not to have my arm in the way. Sorry about that. Let me come back out again. Okay, so I'm gonna turn her around so you can see. So we get in two in, and you want to make sure you pull it enough that you have everything lying flat. If you are unsure, I'm gonna tell you exactly what you need to do. You need to take the pin out and pull again. That's all. You're not sure? Do it again. And now I'm going to come over here. Now with tension, you see I am pulling with tension. I'm going to go ahead and put the pins down. I'm going to take these out because remember I just put it there as a placeholder. So I want to take it out, make sure that I have that tension. Okay, so almost done. So because I made sure that I had the tension everywhere else, I see a little gappage there, and I'm wondering if I have enough tension. That like right here, it's kind of loose. So what do? I go in and add another pin. I'm an over pinner, and that is quite fine. And I'll go back in, take these two pins out, and I want to just triple check that I made sure that I put enough tension because you need to have this front area right here as flat as possible. I'm going to take these pins out because I see a little gap there too. You're going to have a gap, of course, because it's on the curvature. But again, if you're unsure about something, just repin. That's all. Repin. This is your time before you start doing all that sewing. Get to the end, and then you're like, damn, I should have did this and I should have did that. We don't have to do all of that. We just kind of like go through those things at first. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull back and then over, back and then over. That's my tension, and I'm going to hold that pin there, but I'm not going to pin right here first. I'm going to stabilize this whole section. Okay, so now it's stable. It's nice and flat and it's stable. Then you want to go in here, make sure that this is flat as well. And it is. So I'm going to pull, not hard, just a little tension here. And I'm going to secure two pins here. Okay. You want to make sure that she is laying flat. Okay, so she's laying flat. Okay, so there we go. And then I'm going to come over on this side. And as you can see, I know that I got good tension because when I just go and pinch my finger, and I'm not doing it hard, you already see how nice and flat that is. That lets you know that you're putting the tension that you're supposed to. Look at the pins coming up. You see that? Okay, so that lets you know I be pulling. So, okay, let's reposition. You see how it came up right to the hairline? So I'm going to pull down and I'm going to put 3 pins down because I really need this to stay because I want to make sure that this area is covered by the cap because if the lace doesn't cover the cap, it's not going to cover her hairline either. Okay, so I got that pin back in. I believe that that's secure enough. So then I could go back in. And now you don't have to put as much tension because she's laying exactly where she's supposed to. Gentle tension. And so I'm going to go ahead and secure all of this with pins. So you got to pay attention to those pins. And then you want to make sure back here, everything is copacetic. I got a little bit of a bubble there. It's not a big deal, but we don't want to keep that bubble there. Pull and then put your tension. And overpin, don't be afraid to be an overpinner. Stand on your overpinning. There we go. So everything is pinned down and now she's ready to be sewn. And so I'm going to end this by saying thank you very much for watching my video. Please let me know if this was helpful to you and don't be a freeloader. I gave you something. I need you to give me something back. Like, share, and comment. It's important for me because it helps me to know that the content that I'm doing, it's helping someone. Because if you don't like, comment, and share, I don't know, and I'll just stop doing it, because I don't want to waste my time. So here we are at the end. Thank you so much for watching, and this just lets you know that you can DM me. Your question may just be the next video.